So last night was the premiere of the first 2 episodes of the newest Star Wars show, The Acolyte. If you haven't heard about this show, it is a show that takes place 100 years before the prequels. It has nothing to do with the Skywalkers. At least so far it has nothing to do with the Skywalkers, and I don't know how they would make it about them. Which I think is just really interesting. It's really at the peak of the Jedi Order and just sort of this rise of a new era of the Sith. And I've found these first 2 episodes to be a bit of a mixed bag, which I'll try to talk about as much as I can from a non-spoiler perspective, and then I'm going to jump into some spoilers. First episode, you dive right in, and it opens up with this fantastic opening. There's a fight that happens. A lightsaber is barely even used in this fight, but this fight is more interesting and dynamic than any fight that we saw in the Ahsoka show. And I'm a fan of the Ahsoka show, but like that fight was just really well executed and it had me hooked for the rest of the episode. But what ensued was mostly dialogue and setting up the rest of the show and a bunch of reveals that, you know, typical pilots have. But the way that it's edited and structured makes the reveals very uninteresting, because I feel like you have the big reveal and then almost like other characters realizing that reveal afterwards. And I feel like it should have been done the other way around. You know what I mean? And it was just very confusingly executed in a way that I just didn't find to be too interesting. But I was hooked to keep going into the second episode really because of the fight, but also because I wanted to make this little review. And then you get into the second episode, and I just think the second episode is so much better. The first episode gets all the setup out of the way, and even though it's not the most successful episode, you have the second episode that is, in my opinion, really strong. Some really good fights. I think much better character building and setup for the later episodes. You know, I appreciated this episode a lot more. It was a little shorter than the first episode, but I just thought it was a lot better. I don't want to talk too much more about these episodes in terms of non-spoilers, just because I don't want to veer into spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen the show, I do recommend you check it out. It feels like it's going to get better. With that being said, in terms of spoilers, we're going to dive right into that. I was really confused at first with the whole twin dynamic of May and Aisha, but I'm starting to warm up to it a lot more as the show is going on. I just think the first episode, like I was trying to say in the non-spoiler bit, but just the way it kind of treated that reveal to me was really poor. And I've gotten over it, but just it made the first episode kind of a slog to get through, I'm not gonna lie. Really interesting to open it up with the Jedi kill. It's just not what I would have expected, and really a great opener for the first episode because the rest of the episode to me was not too great. So I feel like it just needed that. Like if this show did not have that opener in the first episode, gosh, I think it just would be so much worse. So I'm really glad that they set that up. I'm kind of like wondering if we're gonna see every episode, at least these first 2 episodes both start with May trying to kill another Jedi. And it seems like that pattern's gonna be continuing into the 3rd episode, but we'll see. I mean, I just feel like it would get kind of comedic almost if they do that, so I hope they change the way that they open up future episodes, just because once the second episode opened up with May, I was like, oh, here we go. May's trying to kill another Jedi. Oh my God, you know? So hopefully they change things up. Overall, we're just not that far into the show yet. I think they've set up some really interesting things. I'm really interested in whoever the Sith Lord is and, you know, figuring out the lore of that character. And I think that, for me, is why I'm gonna really try to keep watching the show, because I want to learn more about him. aside from that, the interpersonal dynamics so far of this show are fine. The fights are great. That's another reason to keep watching this, and why I hope all of you keep watching this show. Like, we have not gotten fights like this in Star Wars in a long time. So, like, let's enjoy this, you know? Because, like, you know, when was the last time you've just seen a fight between two Force users just feel so grand, you know, and just so epic? The prequels? Maybe like one or two fights in the sequels, but like even the sequels I feel like didn't have that many great fights. I'm sorry, I just don't have too many like hot takes or, you know, really big thoughts in terms of this show right now. It's just getting going, you know? So I feel like I can't make too many judgments yet, because who knows how this story is gonna unfold. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and while you're down there, feel free to like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.